How's it going, YouTube? Kyrie here, and in today's video, I'm going to do another movie review. And the movie I've chosen to review is called The Hunger Games. I thought I would change the scenery a bit and just go outside. It's very well lit out here, so I thought it would be a good idea. Okay, so this was a very long movie, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this review. I'm just going to summarize the movie as quickly as I can, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So, basically, this movie is about survival. Um, right at the beginning of the movie, we get the characters who basically are in this dystopia and they are locked down, and it basically seems like they can't leave. There's guards everywhere, and the capital runs the entire population. And the whole entire theme of this movie is basically just murder. So I'm just going to get into it. At the beginning, we see Katniss and her family, and she's basically comforting her sister because they know that the next Hunger Games are coming up, which is the event in which two people from each district are chosen to participate in this murder games. So there's 12 districts. At the beginning, we see Katniss' sister, younger sister. She's very frightful that she's going to get picked. Katniss reassures her that she's not. She ends up getting picked anyways, and then Katniss takes her place. She says she'll volunteer, and that's basically how that goes. So her and another character named Peta basically are the two from their district, which is District 12. So we proceed with the movie. They go to like this battleground to prepare for the Hunger Games, and they are treated basically like royalty, which is who owns this whole thing, like the capital. They're very wealthy. They basically just see all of this as like entertainment. So Katniss and Peta go to the Hunger Games arena as along with the rest of the districts, and they sort of get prepared there. They get some advice, and then they proceed to train. And throughout the training process, there is a couple of points where they kind of have to try and gain sponsors, I guess, by impressing them with their skills. So Katniss has very good skills with arrows. She gets the highest score of an 11. And then before the actual battle begins, there is one last final interview with select characters, and Katniss and Peta both go up and they do their thing. Katniss spins her dress. It has flames, which also was at the beginning of the movie when they did their whole introduction with the chariots and everyone was on horses. They had these fake flames that they rolled out on their horses and basically impressed everyone. So anyways, Katniss gets a score of 11, and then she is known as the girl who's on fire. The battle begins. Everyone's kind of rooting for her. There's even references that kind of hint at her throughout the entire movie. So the battle begins, and right off the start, basically everyone just goes for the weapons. Katniss was advised not to go after the weapons, but to go for water instead. And even Peta sees her and gives her a shrug, like, don't do it. And at first she tries to go for it, but then she sees how everyone gets killed very, very quickly, and she decides against it, and then she runs away. And yeah, so she runs away after grabbing a pouch full of various objects such as rope and all kinds of different things that'll help her survive. And as we progress throughout the movie, we have just basically different murders and different obstacles for the characters. So Katniss goes through and she is targeted instantly by like a group of people who have formed an alliance, and they basically just target her. At first, PETA goes with them, but then later on he sides with Katniss. But he basically is like their scapegoat to lead everyone to Katniss. And so at the beginning, there's Katniss. She climbs a tree to try and escape everyone. And then there's this other girl, very young, who helps Katniss out. She's very shy. She sees that Katniss is in a tree, and basically everyone is waiting for her to come down as per suggestion of PETA to kind of bait her out. So the little girl basically tells Katniss that there's a wasp's nest straight above her, and she tells her to chop down the tree so that she can basically try and kill everyone else that is trying to hunt her down. And so she does it. She gets stung a bit. She starts hallucinating. Everyone below gets targeted by the bees. I don't know how she didn't get targeted because they're called jacker wasps, and basically they didn't end up going after her. They went after her the first time when she started messing with the hive, and then that was about it. So that part kind of confused me because I thought that most things like that, if you irritate them, they're just going to come after you. But anyways, all those people got messed up. I think a couple people died, but not entirely. They got severely injured for sure. And then we progressed throughout the rest of the movie. The little girl ends up dying. Katniss just loses it. And then the hunt continues. And basically there's an announcement that says that there can be 2 survivors instead of 1 now. And the objective is basically just to be the last one surviving, last one standing, and that will decide who is the winner of the Hunger Games. So it continues, it progresses, a bunch of people die, and the obstacles just keep getting harder because they keep adding things into this little virtual world that they have for this game. So at one point there is fire, and at another point there are these weird, I want to say like pit bulls. They seem like very steroid like pit bulls who basically are just there, added to the simulation, just to mess with people. They end up killing some people. And then we progress throughout the movie. They start chasing Katniss and PETA, who have basically killed a lot of people at this point. And they kind of realize that they're going to be the only 2 survivors. And then towards the end, they climb this big kind of pillar, and they tried to escape these wild animals. And then another character who's like really sadistic and just completely evil, who they find out is still alive, comes after them. They start fighting. He starts striking them very violently. And then all 3 of them are on top. They're struggling, and basically he holds PETA hostage. And Katniss pulls out an arrow, shoots him in the hand. He falls down. The animals eat him. She shoots him again, and then, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and one thing I should also add is that when the little girl died, like, the entire district that she was in just went ballistic and, like, started tearing down the set and everything around them, beating up the guards and stuff. And then, so basically they had to change the narrative within the game and make people want to root for Katniss and PETA as a kind of hope for young love, as per suggestion of one of the helpers. And so basically, after that guy dies from the animals, not the one I just mentioned, but the guy before, who's very sadistic, he's just gone now, but Katniss and PETA realize that they are the survivors, and then the rules change once more, and it says that there can only be one survivor. So they grab these poisonous berries, and they agree that they're both going to eat them, and they decide upon that. And by them doing that, the judge declares them both the winner. And then he gets locked in a room with those same berries for pissing off his superiors and by not naming one winner. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie. I could go into the deeper details, but it's mostly just hide and seek and hunt and kill and like booby traps and all kinds of obstacles for the characters, as you would imagine if you're trying to play a game of like Manhunt or something and you're just trying to be the last one standing. So that was basically the objective of this whole entire film and game, and Katniss and Peeta ended up surviving. They went back, and then the really wealthy people said that your district is probably really proud of you. They gave Katniss a crown, and then they went back, and that was pretty much it. So overall, it was an alright movie. Very dark tone. If I could say anything that's probably most significant, it's just very dark. Because the whole entire point of this entire village is that you're a trap there, and every once in a while there are these murder games in which people are picked out of a ballot and they must fight for survival. And I'm almost certain that the royal people, the very wealthy people, are just very satisfied with all of this, and they are just purely in it for entertainment, whereas the other characters who are actually fighting are very terrified, and they just pretty much do whatever they can to survive. And on one half, there is a bunch of sadistic characters who just really want to murder people, and the other half is kind of like fighting for their survival, but at certain times they protect people from the other sadistic people because they don't like them mutually. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It was an okay movie. Certain things were very predictable. They had certain catchphrases that would just basically make it very obvious that Katniss was going to be the winner from the very start, so that was kind of weird. But besides that, it was interesting, I can say. Very dark. Very, very dark. But, I mean, it's called The Hunger Games, so I guess not really that surprising. Yeah. That's pretty much it. The actors were very good at playing their various roles. I didn't have any issue with the acting. It was just kind of the story itself was kind of a bit odd and dark. But I know that this is a series, so maybe it got better. I haven't watched any of the other films, but this is the second time I've watched the first film, and both times I've kind of had this feeling of confusion as to why certain things were just announced right off the bat without any real surprise. And also the wasp thing just didn't make sense to me at all, because if you antagonize a hive like that with all those rapid numbers, and this thing had like lethal venom that caused hallucinations and in extreme cases death, and Katniss just survived, and none of them came after her after, which was kind of weird because she was the one that provoked the whole attack in the first place. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little review. Like I said, I didn't want this to be too long, so I'm gonna stop here at about 14 minutes. Stay tuned for more videos.